something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Hey everybody!
This battle line's being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. Time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
So much going on in the world today, y'all. We're going to talk about a few things.
What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and they carry inside. Mostly say hooray for our side. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Paranoia strikes deep into your life, it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. You better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop now. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop.
Hey everybody! I just wanted to start off with that song because I felt like that was a good song to start off with today. We're going to be covering a few topics. You know, I told you all I like to do news from a Christian perspective. So I found a couple of videos, news articles, things that I see going on in the world that I don't really see getting a lot of media attention. And I think from a Christian standpoint, these are some things that we really need to be paying attention to. So I want to just look at this first video. This is from Senate. And I know that, you know, in my community, we don't really pay a lot of attention to what's going on in politics. But I think as Christians, we need to begin to start paying more attention to what's going on in politics, just because it's relevant to a lot of things that was prophesied in the Bible. It's relevant to a lot of things that God is talking about, and it kind of gives us direction as the body of Christ as to the things that we need to be paying attention to and that we need to be prepared to answer and address when having to reach out to this world. And we need to be aware of how our enemy is operating so that we can be prepared to combat those things that we see the enemy doing. And so what does this mean? When we see certain things going on in society, we as the body of Christ has to start paying attention to these things and start formulating our plan as to what we're going to do as the body of Christ to counteract these things. So I want you all to take a look at this video. What I thought was interesting about this is that it is discussing that in the verbiage of some of the new policies being put forth by the health department and other governmental agencies is that they are now changing a simple term, mother. They're changing that wording and they're referring to us now as birthing people. And instead of calling us mothers, which is, people that give birth to children, people that give birth are women, and those women are called mothers. But with this whole new LBGTQAI plus all the other alphabets that come afterwards, now the simple term mother is now being attacked. And I call it an attack because people want to see this as growth and progress and inclusion and blah, blah, blah. And so it's really an attack on what God, or on the standards that God set, on the terminology that God set. You have to understand that it's the enemy's goal to reverse and pervert everything that God says and does. So let's just listen to this video right quick.
Disparities. And
sorry about that, y'all. I forgot to hit.
Go to another issue. The budget requests $26 million to reduce maternal mortality and eliminate race-based disparities in outcomes among, quote, birthing people. This is a shift from recent budgets, which referred to maternal health issues as women's issues. I've never heard the term before. Can you explain what it means?
Absolutely. There are certain people who do not have gender identities that apply to female or male. So we think our language needs to be more inclusive in how we deal with complex issues. I think the underlying issues most important that your colleagues, Lauren Underwood and others, are working on is to try to ensure that those of color who are giving birth leave the hospital alive. And that's the issue rather than the verbiage. The verbiage matters, but the underlying issue is extremely important. And a lot of your colleagues are working hard on this because all of those giving birth should have access to the same quality health care.
So is the administration's official policy to replace the term woman with birthing people?
I think our official policy is to make sure when people get service from their government that they feel included, and we're trying to use inclusive language.
Okay, interesting.
As we go into Mother's Day weekend, let us recommit our efforts and support to ensure that every birthing person across this nation is empowered and feels safe.
We have not created an infrastructure to support birthing people.
All pregnant and birthing people deserve to be treated with love.
Birthing while Black should not be a death sentence.
Health equity for Black birthing people is attainable.
Mothers and babies and Black birthing people are important.
We desperately need long-term fixes to support the healthcare needs of Black women and birthing people.
The most marginalized, Black and Indigenous birthing people.
To systemically shift the way we approach healthcare for birthing people of color.
And respectful of Black women and birthing people.
The maternal mortality crisis among Black birthing people in the United States.
Black birthing people
and birthing people.
For birthing people.
Black birthing people.
And our Black birthing persons. For all birthing persons in Louisiana.
That birthing people want doulas and midwives.
And support for birthing people during the postpartum period.
There are not enough Black workers of color, leaving Black birthing people with limited autonomy or opportunity to receive racially concordant care.
Protect Black birthing people and to save lives. Thank you.
Go to another issue. The budget requests $26 million to reduce maternal mortality and eliminate race-based disparities in outcomes among, quote, birthing people. This is a shift from recent budgets, which referred to maternal health issues as women's issues. I've never heard the term before. Can you explain what it means?
Okay, y'all. So if you watch that video, you see that they are now making the official term for mothers and for those who give birth to children. They are no longer being referred to by our government as mothers. They are now being referred to as birthing people. Birthing people. And what I am paying attention to, and I don't know how many of my people are paying attention to, it really started with the BLM organization. I think it started way back when you had every, a lot of the Black stars had to dress up and drag and dress up like women and play gay characters, and they had to play, certain components of the LGBTQ just to even get a role. So now what I'm paying attention to is that now on the political stage and on the social stage, the what is the word? The civil liberty stage and all these things, you see more Black people being represented. But see, what I'm starting to pay attention to is that Satan is realizing that by muddying the waters with race and sexuality, by blending these two together, he can further the LGBTQ agenda on the backs of civil rights. And he's using Black people, because if you pay attention to that video, it was mostly Black people. And the issue was about Black birthing people. And they're using our race. They're pimping our skin, y'all. Pay attention, my people. They're pimping our struggles as Black people. They're pimping our skin color as Black people. Not there, Satan. Satan is pimping our skin color. He pimping our flesh. He pimping our desire for equality to push his agenda. Because everything now that's been related to Black people is now automatically tied to the LGBTQ. You can get health care for Black women that have to give birth without changing it to this woke LGBTQ terminology. See, that's how you know Satan is in the mix to this. See, this is not a good thing for our people. We might think it is because you see more of us on the world stage. You see more of us active in politics. You see more Black people now than ever on the news, newscasters, but they're all not only pushing civil rights, but pushing the LGBTQ right along with it. Satan is pimping Black people right now. And we don't even realize how bad we're being pimped and being used as Black people to push Satan's LGBTQ agenda. Now they're trying to get health care for Black mothers to make sure that none of us die while giving birth to children, which that's a good thing. But now they're stripping us from being called mothers to calling us birthing people, because they want to respect the people who are, now look, listen how sick this is. They want to respect the people who are giving birth, who don't want to identify as women. That is the most twisted, sick thing I've ever heard in my life. Only a woman can give birth to a baby. I don't care what you want to identify as. Only a woman can give birth to a baby. And see, we allowing Satan to ride our backs in the civil rights movement to push his LGBTQ right along with it. And see, Black Lives Matter, the organization, set the Black race up. I'm going to tell you that right now. We married the LGBTQ. We allowed the BLM organization to marry Black people's civil rights aspirations to the LGBTQ aspirations. I want equality for my Black people, and I don't care what your sexuality is. But I don't want to be forced to be promoting the acceptance of your sexuality in order to gain equality. And see, and that's what Satan is doing. He is forcing Black people who want the world stage, who wants to get in front of people, who want to become influencers, to not only push civil rights for Black people, but also LGBTQ. Everything we do nowadays is linked to the LGBTQ as Black people. And we got to wake up and we got to see what's going on. Because not all of us want to push this LGBTQ movement. But yet that's what's being done. Pay attention to the news. Pay attention to the media. Pay attention to our Black representatives in media. Are they just pushing equality for Black people, or are they pushing the LGBTQ in a cloak of civil rights? See, the Bible says that the wolves come in sheep clothing. And see, I think that Satan has realized the best way to advance the acceptance of the LGBTQ lifestyle is by muddying the waters with the equality that Black people are seeking. So now it's almost become it's synonymous with LGBTQ and Black. LGBTQ again. When did this happen? And see, when all those riots and stuff was taking place, when BLM was out here trying to say that they was helping us, how many of us went to the BLM website? See, they took this stuff down. But while you were out there protesting, you should have been reading their website. Because the goal of the BLM organization was to destroy the Black family, the traditional Black family of mother, father, child. And I don't mean that it had to be mother, father, child in the house. It's just that mothers, fathers, and children. They want to destroy that, so it's mother's children, father's children. They wanted this whole perversion of the traditional family. And that was the goal of the Black Lives Matter organization. And see, a lot of us didn't take the time to research that the leaders of the Black Lives Matter organization themselves, identified as members of the LGBTQ. And not only that they practice openly witchcraft. So every time you are calling these people's names that died, like when the Ahmaud Arbery trial ended, and those people were found guilty, you had people standing outside the courtroom saying Ahmaud Arbery's name over and over again. When George Floyd, you had people saying George Floyd's name over and over again. But what you don't realize is those chants and those incantations was a result really of witchcraft. You don't really realize when you're screaming those people's names like that over and over again, it's a form of witchcraft. You're calling on the spirit of the dead when you're doing it. So we need to really open our eyes and start to get some spiritual studying going on when it comes to some of the social activism that we're doing. Because a lot of the social activism that we are participating in is actually ceremonial witchcraft. We have to start waking up. And as Christians, we got to be careful what we're out there participating in. Time to wake up, y'all. So I'm going to go to the next report that I wanted to talk about. So we also know right now that wait a minute, this is not the one I wanted to talk. Oh yeah, this is the one I wanted. Then a lot of you may not be aware that Joe Biden, he appointed a transgender admiral. And I'm going to let you all just read the video, watch the video, because I don't want to say too much about it. until you read it, until you watch it. And then I'm going to explain to you where I'm going with this. Because as much as the Black Lives Matter protests and stuff that were taking place was meant to try to tear down the white patriarchy that we feel like is holding us back as a people, by attaching ourselves as a race and as a movement and as a desire for equity, by attaching that goal to the LGBTQ goal, we're actually strengthening the white patriarchy that we're looking to take down. How? Because through the LGBTQ movement, listen to me, y'all, pay attention. See, anytime you see a bunch of white people, and let me stop. Let me not, I don't want to say race. I don't want to sound racist, but you just got to really pay attention, y'all. Anytime you see a lot of white people jumping on our side, calling themselves helping us, like when all those white people was out there protesting with us and kneeling to us and bowing to us and you know, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. See, at the same time, the BLM organization was attaching the LGBTQ movement to us, which is actually detrimental to what our goals are. Because the LGBTQ movement is actually going to strengthen the white patriarchy that we're looking to take down. How? What do you mean, Minister Didi? How is the LGBTQ movement strengthening white patriarchy? Because pay attention to all the laws that are being passed. They done made it a hate crime. They done made all these laws to protect the LGBTQ. If you even say anything against an LGBTQ person or a member of the LGBTQ, it could be a hate crime. You're going to be called a bigot. You're going to be called all these things, right? So what has happened through the LGBTQ movement is that you're strengthening the white patriarchy because you've allowed those same white men to now be able to put themselves in a category of being a minority. Do you realize what y'all doing now? Do you realize, I believe that there are racist white people that are capitalizing on the LGBTQ movement and are now solidifying the white male patriarchy through the LGBTQ movement. Let me give you what do you mean? Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let me give you an example. Because when I saw this take place, that's the first thing I thought about. Now, I want you all to look at this video. Now, this is Joe Biden appointing an LGBTQ admiral. Now, I want you all to pay attention to this video. You all are being duped, my people, my Black people. You're being duped if you allow our struggle to become the LGBTQ struggle. Listen to this, y'all.
Transgender 4-star officer across the uniformed services. I am proud to serve at HHS as history is being made and to support a more diverse future.
I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
Let me just stop. Because see, she's talking about she's so willing and she's so happy to embrace a more diverse future. And then look who we have standing here. A more diverse future? What? That is a white man. That is the same patriarchy we've been fighting against. Because he put on a dress and want to be identified as a woman. Now he's an example of diversity. The devil is a liar. Come on, people. Listen to this. Listen to this again. I want y'all to listen to this. Wake up, my Black people. Wake up. Now diversity is no longer a person of color. now they're referring to as diversity.
Uniform Services. I am proud to serve at HHS as history is being made and to support a more diverse future.
A more diverse future. Are y'all getting it? Are y'all getting it? Are y'all getting it? Are y'all seeing what they doing to us?
I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me
Am I the
God.
only one seeing the problem?
The opportunity to serve as the head of the United States Public Health Service Commissioned Corps as a four-star officer is an extraordinary honor and a profound responsibility. I stand on the shoulders of those LGBTQ plus individuals who came before me, both those known and unknown. May this appointment today be the first of many more to come as we create a diverse and more inclusive future. Diversity makes us stronger.
A diverse and inclusive future? Are you kidding me? The only thing that this man did was put on a dress and say, I identify as a woman, and now he's a minority. Now he's a model of diversity. Wake up, y'all. This is still a white man. This is still the same white male patriarchy that you all protested to try to take down so we can get some real equality and some real diversity. But now they can go put on a dress and say, I feel like I'm a woman. And now a white man in a dress is a model of diversity. If this ain't about a slap in every black person's face that ever fought for freedom, if this ain't slapping Martin Luther King in the face, if this ain't slapping Harriet Tubman in the face, I don't know what is. That this is not what they call diversity. Let me just let this play.
Each person has a different perspective and different strengths that they bring to make the whole community stronger.
Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia.
Now, this is who we got in charge of our military. This is the person we got in the highest military office now, that is okay with giving minor children hormone medicine to change their sex, who are okay with destroying the God-given genitalia that a child is born with to switch their sex. But this is diversity. If that don't slap every black person in the face, I don't know what is. If y'all don't see that Joe Biden is about the biggest racist in this world, if you all that don't see that this man is so racist that before he would make a black person a general or an admiral and show some true diversity, that he would put a man in a dress and call it an admiral and say that that's diversity. And if you all as black people buy this, if you all buy this and you accept this as true diversity, then you're truly deceived. Then you're truly asleep. You're truly asleep. You protested for
Dr.
nothing.
Levine, do you believe that minors are capable?
You protested for nothing. If you say a white man in a dress is an example of diversity, that's still protecting the white male patriarchy, y'all, that you all was out there protesting against. I want to cry, y'all. Do you see it now? Do you see it now? Do you see that Joe Biden is racist? Do you see it?
Of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex? Well,
do you see how sick and twisted Joe Biden is? Do y'all? How many of my brothers and sisters think it's okay for a child that's under the age of 13 that barely know anything about anything to make the decision to change their sex? How many of my black brothers and sisters would allow their child or their son, their daughter, to change their sex? But this is diversity. This is what y'all was out there protesting for. Inclusion and diversity. This is what Joe Biden calls inclusion and diversity. That's a white man in a wig and a dress. How is that helping to destroy the white male patriarchy that has held black people down and people of color down for hundreds of years? How is this now diversity? Wake up, y'all. You're being duped.
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of.
So now, first of all, he was a general, he was made an admiral. Now he wants to be the Assistant Secretary of Health. So he's going to try to get our tax dollars to be able to be used to help turn kids into him. But this is diversity? Is this what we was out there protesting for? Is this the result of what you all put Joe Biden in office to do? Y'all didn't.
Of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was confused with her identity. At 14, she read on the internet about something about transsexual. She thought, well, maybe that's what I am. She ended up getting these puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones. She had her breast amputated. But here's what ultimately she says now. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we have believed that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field. And if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
So he did not answer that question. Did y'all notice that? This man thinks it's okay for the government. Now, I got a child. Now, my kids are grown. But say, for instance, you got a child. Your child, 7 years old. Mommy, I want to be, you got a 7-year-old son. He like, Mommy, I want to be a girl. And you tell him no. the government can intervene as if that's child abuse and force you to let your child transition. That is what this man is trying to do. Pervert everybody like him. Change everybody into being him. But that's what y'all voted for. Is this what you all were voting for when you voted for Joe Biden? Did you intend for that? You don't understand how the LGBTQ movement is doing nothing but solidifying the same white male patriarchy that you all have been trying to undo. So now all a white man has to do is go put on a dress and a wig and say, I identify as a woman. And now he's a minority. Now he's an example of diversity. Is that what you all were protesting for? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I just thought y'all see that. We're going to move on to the next one right quick. Give me a minute.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is
on to the next story. So now they were talking about the Roe v. Wade. Y'all know that's going on now. They're in deliberations, if you want to call it, as to whether or not they're going to decide to overturn much of Roe v. Wade, which will severely limit the terms in which a woman can get an abortion, and it's going to take the federal approval off abortions and put it now on the individual states. So that means, if you live under a more conservative governor, abortions might not be legal in your state. So now they're going to change Roe v. Wade, whereas on the federal level, it was approved, which means that it was approved for all states. Now they're going to take it off of the federal level, and they're arguing now to put it on the state level, where the states make these decisions now, and instead of the federal government making a blanket decision for everybody. So now I want you all to listen to this video, because these are some of the, and I tried to find videos of scholars and stuff arguing both sides of it. But I thought about it because it's the people on the street, the everyday person that you kind of need to hear to kind of get an understanding of why people think abortion should be okay. And I don't want to be like I'm a hypocrite, like I've never been in that position before, or as if I've never helped somebody in that position before, or never been in that position before. But as you grow up and you change and you mature, that's the reason why I can speak to the fact that it shouldn't be legal on a whole, because when you get older, you can regret decisions. You can wish that option was never even available to you, and you can't undo it. Once you decide to kill a baby or have an abortion, you can't undo that. And that's something I wouldn't want on any woman's conscience. You can't undo that. And believe it or not, that's going to weigh on you way more than you think. If you're a pregnant person out there thinking about having an abortion, I would tell you not to. If you got to give birth and struggle and do it, you would rather do that than to have the guilt of an abortion on your conscience, or give the baby up for adoption, but don't abort the baby. And we in a day and age where it's 2021. My youngest child is 26 years old. My oldest one is 30. 26 years ago, we didn't have a lot of the different techniques and things that we have available that can prevent you from getting pregnant. So there's and they still had birth control in my day. Don't get me wrong, that's not an excuse. But what I'm saying is that there's so many ways to prevent pregnancy nowadays that abortion should be the last thing on anybody's mind. When it comes to it should not be a primary form of birth control. It really don't even have to be on the table anymore, because there's too many other ways to prevent pregnancy for abortion to be necessary. That's my opinion. But let's listen to this video to see what people say on the street on both sides of the argument.
All right, we're gonna start crying.
What does our country look like if Roe v. Wade is overturned?
All right, we're gonna start crying.
Women will die. Women will die? Will die. We're out here today at the United States Supreme Court, where justices are hearing oral arguments about one of the most pivotal abortion cases of our lifetime. We'll be asking protesters on both sides of the aisle what our country would look like without Roe v. Wade. Let's go see what they have to say.
It'll look like women going to jail. A lot of women will die, or they will be forced into a life of poverty.
So I wanted to address that right there, where she said a lot of women will die, a lot of women will go to jail. That goes with anything that is a crime. If it becomes a crime and you make the conscious decision to commit the crime, then you're going to go to jail. That's with anything. Any crime that we have. If they outlaw it and it becomes a crime, then that's what happens. Dying. If a woman chooses to go get an illegal abortion from a shady doctor, then that death is not on anybody but the woman who made that decision to go have that abortion. She was going to go kill a baby, and she died instead too. That goes with the decision. And since abortion has been legalized, people have died having an abortion. So that argument is weak, saying many women are going to die. A lot of women might not even, and maybe if you took abortion off the table, a lot of women would just go have a baby. And I don't understand, because abortions are like $400 or $500. They probably even more now. That's how much they were back in my day, back in 30 years ago. So abortion's got to be way more now. A condom ain't but $2. Birth control prescriptions are not over $100 a month for you to get birth control. Birth control is a lot less expensive than an abortion. So my thing is, if you can't afford a $2 condom, if you can't afford birth control, then maybe you don't need to be having sex, period. And I know condoms ain't 100%, but look, condoms are dang on strong. You got to be had a broke, raggedy, cheap condom for you all to get pregnant, and you're actively using condoms when having sex. You got to really be careless to get pregnant, and you all are using condoms. Now, I can understand birth control pills and other things like that, but if you're using a female IUD along with the condom, y'all ain't getting pregnant. Y'all people just got to stop being so thirsty to have sex without condoms and just want to be able to go kill the baby. Oops. No. Okay, we got to find a better way. We got to find a better way, y'all. There's too many other ways to prevent getting pregnant.
Women are telling me that women will die if Roe is overturned.
I think that's happening already.
It's really scary because it puts a lot of people in immediate physical danger. And I just don't want to see that happen.
And she said immediate physical danger. And I'm just thinking to myself, you don't have to have sex. Is that okay to say? I mean, people act like sex is something that like you're going to die if you don't have sex. Like you have to have sex. Can I just throw this out there? You cannot have sex. I went 8 years celibate before. I've been celibate most of this year. I had sex with my husband in June. Okay. But I've been celibate most of this year. So my whole thing of it is it's not impossible to just not have sex. You can't get pregnant if you don't have sex. But I know for y'all, it's just like that's an impossible option. Like keeping your legs closed is not an option. Keeping your penis in your pants is not an option. It is. And if you lay down and you have sex, you should be able to handle the consequences of having sex. And don't get me wrong, I keep trying to tell y'all, it ain't like I ain't never been there. It's not like I've never been there. I have. That's the reason why I can tell you, you don't really want to have an abortion. That's something that weighs on you for the rest of your life. That's something that can literally destroy your life because there's spiritual consequences to that. That I don't think a lot of women understand. You're taking an innocent life. Don't you know that can literally destroy your life spiritually? Unless you really turn your life over to Christ and repent of what you did. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all.
Happen? A lot of people are telling me that women are going to die if Roe v. Wade is overturned. Is that true?
No, it's not true.
Do you think that women will die if Roe v. Wade is overturned?
No, I don't think so.
What about you? What do you think?
Far more women will live. Right now, we've seen 62 million Americans that have been lost to abortion, and then many, many more who are wounded.
It's convenient that they only want to.
Do you see that? 62 million children have been killed since Roe v. Wade. 62 million. Do you know how many people that is not? And see, if you want to get into population reduction and you want to talk about all that, then I mean, woo. Then we understand why this is such a big deal for those higher up to want this to remain legal. 62 million people have died as a result of abortions. And if you understand the racist history behind abortion to begin with, no Black person should ever be pro-choice. Because literally abortion was thought of to keep Black people from reproducing, to keep our race from reproducing. I don't know what to say to you. I'm going to let this video finish playing.
Talk about one side of women that are dying, but women die every day from abortion.
People deserve to be able to get abortions when they need to. People who have uteruses need this aspect right. I'm here with my walker. I'm disabled. Because of my disability, if I get pregnant and I can't get an abortion, I will literally die.
She gonna say, if I get pregnant and I can't get an abortion, I will literally die. How about not getting pregnant? And if you could die from getting pregnant, then why not have a hysterectomy and have that whole thing completely removed? So the possibility of getting pregnant is not even there. I mean, there's other things you can do besides killing a baby. That's all I can say, y'all. There's other things you can do besides killing a baby to not get pregnant. How about that? Is that an option?
So it's really, really important to me. It's really important to so many people that this is here. Otherwise,
their arguments for it is just so raggedy to me. Their arguments in support of abortion, all of it just sounds selfish and raggedy. At the end of the day, I don't want it. I want to kill it. I don't want to do what it takes to not have one. I want to kill it. And don't get me wrong, I can understand the young girls. I can understand the young ladies. I can understand the people that are too young to understand the spiritual consequences of this decision. Don't think I'm insensitive, because I'm not. but because I know the spiritual consequences, because I know what it can do to your life to have one. That's the reason why I'm like, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do it. If you can find ways to not get pregnant, find every possible way to not get pregnant before you go have an abortion. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all.
As we know, it just means that people who can get pregnant will stop getting safe abortions. We won't stop abortion, we'll just die more often.
What happens when a woman's facing an unexpected pregnancy is that she needs services and care, and that unborn baby also need that. So the hope is that people receive services and care, not that people are dying. This is what's in the best interest of women. Life empowers women. Abortion is a disaster for women.
Women are dying right now from abortion. Women are dying from botched abortions. Women like Tanya Reid, women like Lakeisha Wilson. Women are dying, Black women, like the ones I just named, Cree Irwin, who died in her mother's bed after having an abortion. And no one wants to talk about them. No one says their names. No one talks about how they've been killed by the abortion industry, along with millions of children.
What does our country look like if Roe v. Wade is overturned?
It looks like a country much more focused on its foundational principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we will be living a life with more life in it, and a lot more joy, and a lot better mental health in our nation.
So that's that, y'all. I'm not going to beat that dead horse to death, but that's something that we really need to think about when it comes to the abortion topic. I would really like to see a lot more people invest more in birth control. I almost feel like I'm about to cry, y'all, because I'm not a person that is speaking from I'm a person speaking from experience here. Okay, you would rather find other ways of preventing pregnancy than to have an abortion. Okay, you don't want that. I feel like I'm about to cry, and I don't want to cry because I got a story I can tell you. But you would much rather get you some good birth control. Practice celibacy. If you really are in a place where you don't think you should have a child, then do what's necessary to not get pregnant. Okay? So we're going to move on. Now, we all know about Jesse. I like saying his name like that, y'all. I'm so sorry. But we all know about Jesse Smollett and what happened with him, and the fact that, Lord Jesus, how many of y'all think this boy actually told a story? I think it wasn't the truth. But the thing about it, let's think about it like this. Let's let this play for a second.
The trial of actor Jussie Smollett, the former star of the hit show Empire, charged with staging and fraudulently creating what was deemed as an anti-gay racist hate crime that was against him, allegedly, and he was charged with lying to the police about it. NBC's Megan Fitzgerald has been covering this, is live in Chicago outside the courthouse. Megan?
So, all right, yeah, just within the last couple of minutes here, the jury foreman reading off those 6 counts that Jussie Smollett has been facing. And this jury found that he was guilty on 5 counts, not guilty on 6 counts. So I want to break this down to you. The first 5 counts are connected to that incident in January of 2019, a statement that Jussie Smollett made to police officers. So jurors found that he lied to police officers on those 5 counts. But on another day, a separate day, weeks later, is when he was charged with that 6 count found.
I just gotta stop this for a minute. How did he just go to that courtroom like that? How he do that? Every day just what? How did he let this get this far? You know, how did it get here? Just think about it for a minute. This man guilty. How did it get here? How did he get to court? Why did he let it get this far? I mean, at some point, you just gotta realize that nobody believes you. And just, cut your losses and And why drag yourself through this humiliation? Because you don't want to admit you lied. And just to think about the mental issues, that's the reason why I can't laugh about what happened to this man, because you got to look at the bigger picture with him. This is a mental problem. For you to tell that kind of a lie and to drag this story on for a couple of years, you got to be seriously mental to get on that stand and do what this man is doing. And that's what I want to say about this situation, is that we need to understand that mental health problems are real, man. And we talk about the Karens out here that we call them, that act up and act crazy and do these false police reports against Black people to try to get them put in jail. But isn't that what Jussie Smollett just did? He'd rather throw these 2 Black dudes under the bus. And he'd rather see them go to jail and them made a fool out of and them look like than to just admit he lied. I mean, do you understand what he's doing? He's no different than the Karens we complain about. He's just a Black man doing it. And then he could be charged with a rape. I don't know how he's not charged with a hate crime, because he lied and said that white people was the one who did it. So I don't know if they can somehow make that a hate crime, but what that man did was just crazy, y'all. We need to pray for him, pray for him, pray for him. You know, not whether or not he get a light sentence. We need to pray for him to get his mind right. Because to cook up something like that is absolute insanity. Insanity, y'all. That's insane. Okay. So I'm about to get ready to pull out. I just wanted to talk to y'all about those few things. And I want you all to get a heads up on just the amount of deception that's in the news. And I know you got people that don't like Fox News. You got people that don't like MSNBC or don't like CNN and don't like this. And for me, what I learned about the 2020 election, if I didn't learn anything else about the 2020 election, the main thing I thank God that I realized is how much the media and the news lie to us. You know, if I didn't take the time to research some of the reports, and if I didn't take time to research some of the stuff that was being said, you know, about Donald Trump, if I didn't research some of the stuff that was being said about Joe Biden, if I didn't research the stuff about Barack Obama, if I really didn't take my time to research some stuff, I would be out here really fooled and deceived like a lot of people are when it comes to what's really going on in the political arena. And what we have to realize, especially as Christians, what we really need to realize as Christians is that, you know, putting too much trust in government is dangerous. Because if you read the book of Revelations and you read the Bible, we know that that's the system that the Antichrist rises in. And that's in government. So for that reason alone, we need to not put so much trust in government. And then the Bible also tells us that Satan is the prince of the air. What do you think news reports are on? Air. Radio reports, air. Media is air that's being aired. They call television shows programming. So we need to be more aware of what we're allowing our spirits to be fed through media. And, you know, I posted this thing the other day that, you know, this we all got one, right? Cell phone. Don't you know this very cell phone that you go on and you get your news and you see what's going on in the world? Oh, Trump said this, Trump said that, he racist, Joe Biden said this and he said that. Don't you know that this same phone that has Facebook on it, that has Instagram on it, that has Twitter on it, has this very amazing thing called the internet on it. You can go on Google, Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, whatever type of phone you have, and you can actually Google what is being said to you on the news to verify if it's true. Wow, isn't that amazing how that works? We don't have to be duped to believe whatever media tells us. We have the ability to research. The Bible says to study to show yourself approved. A workman need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. That applies to any and all truth. Don't let media just feed you whatever they want to feed you and you like, ooh, and run with it. Research. Look it up. You're responsible for what you don't know. Look it up. Don't let even me tell you. Go look it up and find out what's true. Just like you got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter on that phone, you got internet to go look up what you're reading to find out is it true. You know how many lies be on social media? You know how many times these reporters get up here and tell us just blatant, flat out lies because they think we too stupid, too ignorant, or too slow to get on our phone and actually do some research? So if I don't leave y'all with nothing else, you got to remember that Satan's frequency is TV. Satan's frequency is the air. So if you believe everything coming over the air, the airwaves, the TV, the radio, then you right in Satan's frequency. You tuned right into what he wants you to believe. But if you're willing to disconnect from media and social media and go look up some stuff yourself to find out if you're being told the truth, you might find out that, man, you've been lied to a lot. Okay? That's it for today, guys. News on News Report Top 5. Good night. Bye-bye.